It's him and
What's going on,
I,
YouTube? This is
Aquemini.
Marcos from Aquemini Pressure Washing, and I'm back again with another video. In this video, I'm gonna teach you all about your tips. When you get your pressure washer, it usually comes with 5 tips: a black and white one, a green and yellow, and a red tip. So I know that y'all wondering, why do y'all have to have so many different tips? With your pressure washer, the tips need to match up with the pressure washer. Let's start off there first. If you have a 2.5 gallon per minute pressure washer, then your tips need to be 2.5 gallons per minute. When the tips are different sizes from your pressure washer, it may not work properly. You may damage something, or even worse, you could damage your pressure washer. Let's start off with my pressure washer. My pressure washer, I have a 4 gallons per minute pressure washer, and the tips that I have are 4 gallons a minute. The first tip that we're going to talk about is the black tip. The black tip is your soap tip. So anytime that you are downstreaming from your pressure washer, you would need to use this tip. The way it works is you put your soap in a bucket, and then you take your downstream hose and put it inside that bucket, and then what would happen is when you squeeze the trigger with this black tip on the wand, it would pull the soap through the hose. So anytime that you're using the black tip, you are basically going to be using to apply soap to houses, concrete, or roofs, wherever you want to use it. All right, the second tip that we're going to talk about is the white tip. The white tip shoots out a 40-degree fan, which you can use on different surfaces. The good thing about the white tip that you can use it on pretty much anything to clean with high pressure, but it's not too damaging. So you can get away using the white tip on wood. Also, you can use this on washing your car. You can get away with this one because it's shooting a wide fan. Anytime that you have a tip that has a real narrow fan, it's gonna do some damage. So this is probably one of the widest tips that you can use, and you can get away using this tip on any surface. Okay, the next tip that we're gonna talk about is my favorite tip, which is the green tip. The green tip is a 25-degree tip that you use pretty much on anything. The green tip, I use this tip to wash sidewalls and do my rinse down. When I do cut-ins, I'm basically using the green tip to do my cut-ins around houses and on the edge and stuff like that. If I'm doing a deck or something and I'm about to stain it, I'll probably use the green tip to do the spindles and the banisters, just because it's not too wide and it is aggressive enough to get any kind of mold off the wood without damaging it. So if you get a pressure washer, the main tip that you basically would probably use is the green tip. Like I said, it's not too aggressive to do damage to wood if you're not too close, but you can use it on concrete to do cut-in, and you can also use it on any kind of hard surfaces without having any problems. Okay, the next tip that we're going to talk about is the yellow tip. The yellow tip is a 15-degree tip. That means it's going to be a little bit more narrow screen, so that means if you're too close to any kind of surfaces, it's going to do a little damage. So be careful when you use this tip. But it is a good tip to use on concrete and any kind of hard surfaces, and you can also use it to get up gum. I know in one of my last videos I did gum removal with the red tip, but I could have also got away with using the yellow tip, but it may be a little bit slower process. So with the yellow tip, you can clean the driveways, concrete, brick walls, and unpainted areas that you do not want to take paint off. So let me give you an example of what you can use the yellow tip for. The yellow tip, you can use it on concrete. Yes, you can. Also, if you're trying to get paint or something off that concrete, this is probably one of the tips that you probably would want to try first. If you're doing pressure washing and you're trying to strip paint off a deck or a house, this is probably the tip I would use. You shoot it at a 45-degree angle. You should be able to get under the chip paint, and it should come up fairly easy. And then this would make it easy for you to go ahead and start your staining job or your painting job. So the yellow tip is used to clean concrete and to get up chip paint. Okay, the last tip that we use is the red tip. The red tip is a 0-degree tip. So that means this is just basically shooting it at a point. So if you have something that you don't want to damage, do not use this tip, especially on wood, because if you put it on wood, it would chip the wood or even put a hole in it. If you leave it on one area long enough with concrete, it can put a hole in concrete. So anytime that you're using a red tip, kind of shoot at a 45-degree angle so you're not shooting directly onto something. The red tip is real powerful and it's going to be pinpoint. So when you shoot this, it's going to shoot it in one spot and it's going to basically pull up anything that you're trying to get up and stuff like that. So you can do some damage with this tip. Be careful when using the red tip. So an example of me using the red tip was in a video where I was getting up gum at the skating rink. That red tip was basically hitting the gum and it was pulling it up in seconds. I probably could have used the yellow on some areas and stuff like that because it's not as aggressive, but it would have took a little bit longer, but it probably wouldn't do as much damage as the red tip is. So if you got something on the ground or some kind of hard surface that you're kind of worried about damaging, go back to the yellow tip. Don't use the red tip. Okay guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you liked the video. If not, I hope that you learned something from it. If not, go back and look at the video because you skipped over the good parts. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. Before you leave, make sure you hit that like button and share this video with somebody who may need this information. This is Marcos from Aquemini Pressure Washing, and I will see you in the next video.
It's him and I, Aquemini.